T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. My life has value.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Global Watchman News. My name is Lori Swan. I hope you guys are all doing well. If you're on the live chat, we ask that you keep it family friendly. There will be moderators in there to make sure that we stay within the terms of service put forth to us by the platform you're utilizing today. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Take a minute to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. So you know when we go live. Okay, so I'm running solo today only because this is a non-scheduled broadcast. Just something that came across. I've been keeping an eye on something going on with Israel, and I've been doing that since the beginning of November. I don't know if you guys are aware, but the UN has been talking about, hold on a second, let me pull it up. On November 3rd, this came out, that the UN took a vote to force Israel to get rid of its nuclear weapons. And they voted 152-5, telling Israel to get rid of its nuclear weapons, which is kind of interesting because to date, Israel has never confirmed the presence of nuclear weapons. Every time the people that go in, the inspectors go to Israel to inspect, they're denied access to the facilities. And although Israel has been suspected or, I mean, come on, we know they've got them, having nuclear weapons since the 60s. It maintains a policy of nuclear opacity, never officially confirming the existence of the nuclear program. But we all know they've got it. I mean, we do. The problem with that is not allowing the inspectors to go in and to inspect their facilities, is that we currently don't know how many nuclear warheads Israel has. It's suspected that they've got between 80 and 400 warheads. That's a pretty good gap, 80 to 400. And in the world of nuclear weapons, that's a lot, considering the effect, that nuclear weapons. They are also believed to possess the ability to deliver these weapons in several methods, including by aircraft, submarine launchers, which was done via the Jericho the Jericho series that they have over there. And so, this is, I have to be careful what I say, and I think you guys know why. We're talking about Israel here. The last thing I need is for people to come up here and say, oh, she's anti-Semitic. No, not at all. I just happen to know the truth about the state of Israel. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Research Balfour Declaration, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about. Research the DNA of the Khazarians, the Zionists. Not to mention that the United States gives this country literally millions of dollars every single day to protect themselves. Okay. I'm not going to say anything on that as well. All right. So this happened the 3rd of November. This came out, and it says the vast majority of countries on earth voted in the United Nations General Assembly to condemn the Israeli apartheid regime for having nuclear weapons, a flagrant violation of international law, which it is. Israel is the only country in West India that has nukes. I don't know about that. Tel Aviv has not officially acknowledged its possession of the planet-destroying weapons, but experts estimate it has at least 90 warheads and perhaps hundreds. We said between 80 and 400. October 28th, a staggering 152 countries, 79% of all UN member states, adopted a resolution that called on Israel to give up its atomic bombs and join the Non-Proliferation Treaty and allow the International Atomic Energy Agency to supervise its nuclear facilities. Again, they have denied access to the IAEA for decades. Just 5 countries voted against the measure. Now, this is funny. The United States, of course, voted against it. Of course they did. Canada and small islands nations such as Palau, Micronesia, and apartheid Israel itself. Another 24 countries abstained, mostly members of the European Union, NATO allies, and India. The resolution, which is document AC 177L2, was titled "The Risk of Nuclear Proliferation in the Middle East." It demands that Israel abide by the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, the NPT, and put all of its nuclear facilities under comprehensive International Atomic Energy Agency safeguards. That means that they are demanding that the IAEA be allowed in their country to take a look at and inspect their facilities, which would in turn give us an idea of exactly how nuclear they are, what the exact number is. The document likewise states Israel must commit, quote, to not to develop, produce, test, or otherwise acquire nuclear weapons, to renounce possession of nuclear weapons, and to place all of its unsafeguarded nuclear facilities under full scope agency safeguards as an important confidence building measure among all states of the region and as a step towards enhancing peace and security. Where have we heard that before? Peace and security. We hear peace and security, and what comes after that? Destruction. The resolution had been introduced by Algeria, Bahrain, Comoros, Djibouti, Egypt on behalf of the Arab League, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Libya. There's a list of countries here: Yemen, United Arab Emirates, and the UN recognized the state. In the UN recognized state of Palestine. The UN recognized state of Palestine. That alone is an interesting statement, don't you think? I kind of do. And I'm not watching chat, guys. So moderators, do your job. It was adopted in the 25th meeting of the UN General Assembly's first committee, which is focused on disarmament and international security. Back in 2019, the United States and apartheid Israel were the only countries on earth that voted against the UN General Assembly draft resolutions calling for establishing a nuclear weapons-free Middle East. Why? The United States. God, stay out of people's business. We have been for years. We've been the Santa Claus and the Captain Save-A-Hose of the planet, and it's getting exhausting. We've got so much things that we need to work on here in this country before we can help anybody else. It's disgusting to me. It is. When I walk down the street and I see a veteran homeless and begging on the street, and knowing that we send over millions of dollars every single day to Israel and other countries, not just Israel. It's very heartbreaking. Okay, so this happened, like I said, in November. Today, let me pull it up. This was posted today. The UN is telling now Israel must take immediate steps to give up nuclear weapons. This was posted again today, December 8th, 2022. The UN General Assembly has called on Israel to take immediate steps to surrender its nuclear weapons and implement UN resolutions fully on the establishment of a nuclear-free zone in the Middle East. The General Assembly vote was carried 149 to 6 yesterday. So they re-voted on it. So they tabled it and they brought it back yesterday, and they still got a wild majority. Israel, Canada, Micronesia, Palau, and the U.S. and Liberia opposed the resolution, while another 26 countries abstained, including India and many European states. Among other provisions, the draft resolution called for immediate steps toward the full implementation of the resolution on the Middle East adopted by the 1999 Non-Proliferation Treaty. Again, the IAEA, they want them to be allowed for the first time in history to be allowed to come in and to inspect their facilities. I don't know what the ramifications for Israel is going to be if they decide to say absolutely not, we're not going to do this, and deny the IAEA once they come again. Because like I said, they've been denying them access to their facilities for decades. Denying the fact that, we know that they have these weapons of mass destruction. But again, the United States, being the good little puppet that they are, defends this country and their take and their possession of nuclear weapons. This also was posted in the Jerusalem Post. And again, this was posted yesterday, actually. It says, the UN says Israel must give up nuclear weapons in lopsided vote. And I'm going to put all of the links in the description for you guys to take a look at this. We're going to keep an eye on this because this is something that, knowing the Bible, knowing the Ezekiel, knowing the things that are going to come to pass biblically. It's interesting. that they're trying to do this now. So Debbie, I'm gonna go into chat here. You say that is Israel not allowed to have nuclear weapons? No, that is not the case. The problem that the world has, the United Nations has, is that for decades they've never allowed the IAEA in to inspect their facilities. Every other country in the world that has is under this treaty, is under this non-proliferation treaty, has limited their number of nuclear weapons. Back when this was first put out there, the United States and Russia were one of the first two countries that cut back. They got rid of a lot of their nuclear weapons to fall under this treaty. And the fact that Israel refuses to let the IAEA in to inspect, we don't know how many they have. And yes, that is a problem. That is problematic. So it's not the fact that they are not allowed to have them. It's the fact that they think, or they feel, that they are above every other country on earth and don't have to answer for or account for their nuclear arsenal. That's the problem. Let's see what else we got. Israel and the UN are the same side. Absolutely, they are. Why Israel and no one else? Again, we're not. Look at. It's the fact that they don't let the IAEA in to inspect. It's not that we're asking them to. It's not that they're really not asking them to get rid of them all. They're asking them to adhere to the non-proliferation agreement that the other countries have agreed to and have been under for decades. If they were to allow the IAEA in, we're allowed to get an accurate depiction of their arsenal. And they do have 400 of them. I don't know the exact number that the countries are allowed to have, but say, as an example, let's say the IAEA goes in and they do have 400 warheads, and every other, under the agreement of the non-proliferation agreement, it says that you're only allowed to have 50. Then the IAEA would oversee the destruction of 350 warheads. And once they fell into agreement, everything would be fine. They would be allowed to keep them and they'd be allowed to have them. Every country has the right to defend themselves. But it's the idea that they're not allowing these people in. I hope that clears that up. What is my take? Oh, wait a minute. What is my take on Christians going there to the Holy Land? My husband went to Israel a number of years ago, and he and I had discussed going back in the near future. Matter of fact, we were discussing going to a few places prior to 2020 when the restrictions hit. We had planned on going and spending Christmas in Moscow for 1 year. And then, the restrictions hit. So we haven't really discussed going back to Israel. My personal take on it now is, I know what the Bible says and I know what's coming. And I don't know if I would feel safe going over to Israel right now. I really don't. The things that are happening, we're so close, whether we are in tribulation or whether we're close to tribulation, I don't know. Time will tell on that. But I think it's probably safe to say that and this is personal, I would not be going to Israel at this moment in time. But that's just me. You're right. They can't keep their noses out of anybody's business. Is Israel okay? Did that? Looks like a setup. No, I don't believe it is a setup, for the simple reason that they're going to be allowed to keep however many is allowed under the Non-Proliferation Act treaty. So we're not asking them to really get rid of them all. the way the article is stating is because they're not adhering to the treaty. Yeah, they're going to need to get rid of them all. But once they fall into alignment with the treaty, that will change. Israel doesn't need our money. Absolutely doesn't need our money. Nope. It will. Shouldn't Iran be higher on the list? Last I knew, Iran was allowing the IAEA in. Last I knew, to inspect their facilities. And I believe Iran should have the ability to protect themselves as well. Again, in the Bible, it says that the countries the north of Israel will form an alliance and they will attack Israel. Well, yeah, they will. As it is written, so shall it be. And it is written in the Word of God, the inerrant. All right. I'm going to put all the links in the description below for you guys. We're going to keep an eye on this because I'm sure this is, I'm waiting to see Israel's response to this. I have a feeling it's not going to be too receptive, as it never has been in the past. So I will keep an eye on it, and we will update you guys. Tonight's show is still scheduled, 8 o'clock Central Time. We're going to be welcoming back in studio Robbie D is going to tell us the crazy stuff that's going on right now in his country, and those literally draconian lockdowns that are set to take place in the UK. Here's a little bit of an example of what's coming on. Controversial plans to stop cars traveling between neighborhoods in Canterbury press ahead, despite being branded as a draconian ban on free movement. What's going to happen, guys, is the fact that they're going to have checkpoints, literally checkpoints between neighborhoods, between zones. You're going to have to show your paperwork. He said that right now it's established that you cannot leave one zone to go to another zone. You can't leave for any more than 100 days in a year. This is set to take place early in 2023. And of course, this lines up perfectly with Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030. The crazy part about this is, guys, this has absolutely nothing to do with that thing we're not supposed to talk about. It doesn't. This all has to do with preventing global warming. That's right. As crazy as that sounds. So we will be back tonight, regular time. Link is already up. Chat room's already open. And we will see you back next time. I want to thank everybody in the chat room for joining us. Thank you to our moderators. And until next time, remember, eyes open, no fear.